Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on October 31st, 2023 at approximately 4:16 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my own day to day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies I personally live by. Now, I've shared these different tools and philosophies with literally thousands of different people with varying degrees of success, depending upon their own personal efforts. Okay, now I am working on a number of different projects. Before I get into it, let us start off with Shadow is in the house with the gold. And with that in mind, we turn around and do this because this is just the way I operate. And this is the link to Shadow's stream. So drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, do give him a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and then share the daylights out of the thing. We have Joe Stewart in with the silver. And let us go over here so I can actually see what I'm looking at. There we are. And we have D. Henderson in with the bronze. Welcome aboard, Dean. Dean, glad you could make it. Uh-oh. Philip, how you doing? You are in with honorable mention. Now, gotta ask. Okay, Philip, you've asked. I forget what happens. I'm gonna need something a little more specific on that one. Because there's a whole pile of things that can happen. Oh, I see. Ultimately, it opens all kinds of. Happy Halloween there, Philip. The reality is, I figure, we're going to do things. We've got to start somewhere. And Halloween is as good a day as any. Because I will tell you, since we cannot go back in time and change things from that standpoint, I figure let's get started on changing the world now. Not 6 months from now, but I mean right now. So I figure, when I mentioned yesterday that my memories were starting to come back from past lives, I'm referring to, like, people have memories from past lives that are missing. They've got memories from current lives that you've forgotten about. There's all kinds of missing time from UFO abductions. They all work the same way. Because you got to remember, the memory that we're talking about is stuck in literally, if you will, your higher self memory banks. All you've got is hot links, for lack of a better term, to tap in to to your actual physical corporeal brain. Okay. Now, when a memory starts to come back, a lot of the time people chalk up forgotten memories as there must have been some sort of trauma. Not always. Sometimes it's just because you got caught up with so many other things. The things just ended up taking a little too much time, if you will. So what I'm looking at, oh, okay. See, unfortunately, did I end up getting dressed up for Halloween? No, but I did get dressed, if that's any help. Because I'll tell you, I don't think you want the other side of that. No, I honestly, from my standpoint, I was too busy doing other things, and it just didn't dawn on me. Okay, until it was like it dawned on me it was Halloween first thing this morning, because it's my brother's birthday today. So first thing this morning, I did go, happy birthday. Yep. See, I like the weather we get here. I don't know what our weather's doing right now. I don't even know what our temperature is right now. Let's just see what we got. Let's go. It cannot be that warm. Apparently it is. Right now we are apparently at 7 degrees, which is phenomenal in my eyes. Let's just take a peek because I can't. That was close. I can't see the side of the road from here, but it's certainly nicely lit. Nathan, welcome aboard. And where are we here? Nathan. There we are. No, that's world. There we go. This is the link to Nathan's channel. So absolutely, when you get the option, do drop in. Well, that didn't work all that well. Do drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, do subscribe, do give him a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Okay, and then share the daylights out of the thing, because I'll tell you, it is this interactive sharing and supporting each other that is necessary to turn this world around. Okay. You're more than welcome there, Nathan. One of these days I'm going to get my sleeping schedule done right, but I will tell you, like this morning, right? Where are we? I got to bed last night. Last night was rough. I ended up sleeping through yesterday, I think. I missed yesterday. But somebody else can fill me in on that one. I got to ask a real silly question, people, which might give you an idea of just how well my brain is working. But by the look, I did not come on yesterday, did I? I'm hoping not, because I don't remember coming on. But with that in mind, yeah, I don't seem to have a whole lot of problem falling asleep and staying awake a lot of the time. Of course, this morning, I got up at 3:30. So I've been up now for 11 hours. Yep. Nope. 13 hours. And still running fine. But no, the problem I had that I've been having is I've been getting more and more memories from my past. That's terrible, Philip. That really is. You know, Phil's just going, I didn't have a costume one year, so I wore a t-shirt that said Canada and went as a Canadian, eh? You know? No, I ended up drifting away from from a lot of the Halloween thing, for a lot of reasons. Now, don't get me wrong, I figure people should celebrate it. I mean, quite frankly, I believe the term we used when I was younger was any reason for a party is a good one. But no, I am not about to start drinking like I did back then. But I am looking at this whole situation, and one thing that became where are we here? Philip goes 3:30 a.m. is the witching hour. I've known a lot of witches in my time, and they never stick to the witching hour, as it were. They are witches, real witches are witches 24/7. They just dress a little more conservatively for the sake of not getting flack. Now, where is this little pad here? That stuff I'm working on. Oh, what is this? Oh, that's a. Well, why, pray tell, do I have that one? Okay, now get that out of the way because that's something I'm working on. Uh-oh. Oh, I did remember. Hot dang. Now, the way I look at it is this. I've got a whole pile of things we've got to get done, and we might as well start somewhere. When we look at the bigger picture here, now my memories from way back during the Roman Empire, when I was a young senator. Oh, gaming got a little sidetracked. But actually I figured that's part of this whole issue. You see, with the campaign I'm running right now, um, and yes, you make a very good point there, football. It really should stay somewhat organized. Where are we here? Can't do that, but I can do that side of it. So give me 10 seconds and we will get back on track here. Uh-oh. Phil goes, yesterday I listened to a podcast about a teenage boy in France convicted of werewolfing. How, pray tell, do you get convicted of werewolfing? It's not like you can actually, like you can actually go out and do that. Unless, of course, you're claiming to be a werewolf murdering people, at which point there's a little bit of a hiccup. But no, I was thinking about that in all fairness there, in football. One of the biggest things that I came to the understanding of, and it was actually brought to my attention a number of years ago, okay, by a former girlfriend. My gaming has always worked around to building an empire. Net result, I'm doing the same thing in the physical world. Okay, with the game I'm running, the characters have now got 3 different roads they're going down. As a matter of fact, nice thought. Give me 10 seconds on that note. Okay, we are back. Football, I got it. Thank you. You know, it was funny. I just told my son. I says, you got things moving in the right direction when somebody notices. You know, when somebody notices that things are a little different. Now, couple of things we got to look at here. Well, we don't have to. Okay, some of you guys, I'm sure, will recognize these. And this is why I say we have a tendency, and the gaming group I work with is literally, it literally is a mix of a number of different gaming systems. Now, some of the longtime gamers will recognize that sheet. Okay. This is literally the hit locations out of a game called Aftermath. I use this because it adds a much stronger issue of realism. If somebody takes a lot of damage to an arm, the arm is out of the equation. Neil, how you doing? Glad you could join us. What have we got? Here we go. Phil goes, it started when he was bragging to impress the 3 cowherd girls. He was a shepherd boy. They believed his werewolf story and turned him in to the local authorities. And therein lies a lot of the problem with letting your imagination get ahead of you. Because somebody's likely to turn around and say something that doesn't work out well. What I just dropped. There we are. But I've got an interesting situation where it comes to the game. Okay. Now, I look at what I'm doing with the campaign on Sunday is I've got one character. What do we got here? Ah, I've got a character today. One of the players decided he wanted to play. I've thought about inventing, and I actually did take the game Car Wars, which was a mini game, and literally built a role-playing aspect to it. But am I going to go to do I have time to build an actual game? Somebody approached me the other day about possibly collaborating on one. But I've got one of the characters, a chap, and don't ask me what his last name is offhand, a character whose name is Simon, decided he desired to be something a little different. And I'm a firm believer, if you come up with an idea, let me know, and we'll see what we can work out. He wanted to be a drow, which is fine, but he had a specific issue. He desired to be a drow that had been raised and been brought back from the dead. So I went, okay, bonus. We can work with that, but there will be hiccups. As in this player, a cleric can simply turn him and make him run away, which you can picture what's going to happen if he ever runs into a high level cleric. Okay, but he got an interesting. Now, bear in mind, he is now. What is he? Damn. Pardon my French. Figured that. Okay, how's things gonna burn down? Welcome to live stream. Sorry about that. No, his name. No, no. The character decided he desired to be a sort of undead. Okay, as in brought back, and I said, okay, fine, I can work with it. So I took away his high level magic resistance from being a drow, right, and made him turnable. Now, of course, on the plus side, he doesn't have to worry about getting an illness. You know, he cannot, for obvious reasons, get disease. He cannot, well, technically he could. He could end up getting rot grub. Of course, the reality is it won't do anything to him. He's already dead. Yeah, pretty much, Philip. So he was given, and this is all he was given, was he found a note on his desk, on his bedside table that literally said, "Find me the rod." No, find me the rod. The dripping claws have it. Sorry, Simon. Did I ever screw that up? Simon is a wood elf. Okay, and he's been sent off to find a given rod. What the rod is, and again, the players don't know this yet, but I'm setting them off to track down the rod of 7 parts. Okay. Then what do we got here? We have. Oh, no, that was voice. I don't think the other ones are here. Nope. So I've got one guy going after the rod of 7 parts. I've got another chap, the thief of the party. By the way, the thief of the party is not only a halfling businessman, okay, but the guy refuses to get into a fight. So he's been sent off by his god to find a bag of holding. All he was told is it was buried deep in the dark. What he doesn't know yet is it's stuck on the edge of the Underdark. No, in all likelihood, not there, Joe. The reality is, I had when I first moved into this apartment 10 years ago. At best, we got half a dozen trick or treaters. Okay, we didn't get any in the last 3 years, so I didn't even bother buying anything. There's a lot of things that can make trick or treaters go away, but we won't get into those. I also have this undead chap. I've got him. His god is just being mean. In a lot of ways. What did his god do? Oh, now get this. And again, the players don't know this, but the players caught up with a guy that was pulling some nasty stunts on them. Okay. What the players don't know is when they captured him, they've got him shackled in their apartment, which is fine. The Drow's got him shackled. That's okay. What they don't know is when they go and unlock the shackles, they have actually shackled a leash, which ought to make their life absolutely miserable at that point. These are just some of the cross currents I'm working with. As a matter of fact, that reminds me, this little book here, because I gotta get some stuff done as far as that goes. Now, where it comes to what we got? Absolutely not. Except on the one group of animals that do fear trick or treat night, okay, are literally black cats. Okay, and because cats don't really pay much attention to color, all cats take it under advisement, stay away from people. Unless you specifically know them. But no, the funny thing is, animals don't actually hate. Okay, they really don't. They are very leery, they're very edgy, but they don't hate. Now, one of the neat little things that I've got going on with the game, with the character I'm playing right now, on the Thursday night game, is he's a druid thief sorcerer. Now, the sorcerer side is inconsequential, as it were. The guy is only using it for personal use. He's not going after combat. But he is been building himself a quiet little army. But here's where gaming becomes relevant to memory and what have you. I was told a while ago that I don't use gaming for relaxation. I use it for planning. Okay, right now, we've got a situation on our hands. Okay, and this is something I've been told emphatically to deal with. So I'm figuring out through gaming and then dropping it back in your guys' lap. Now, let's see. I'm just going to mark down a couple of notes here first. We've got politics, we've got the pedagogue, which, by the way, that's the school system. We've got the politics, the pedagogue. We've got the religions, okay, or the spiritual movement. We've got the government, and we've got politics. And we've got parental. Now, all of these systems are built properly. Okay, what I've done with the gaming system is very simple. We've got a gaming crew. Okay, so there's 3 of them and then the game master, obviously. But what I turned around and did was took half a dozen actual gods out of the list of gods that I've got, sat them down around a campfire, as it were. They are gaming with the characters. What the characters don't know is the gods are involved. Eventually, they may figure it out. Yeah, Philip, if they've got rabies, they don't hate anybody. They just go start raving bananas. You know, but, the reality from my standpoint, you know, most people, when they get ill, get testy. Now, something that came to my attention, okay, is that we have a massive problem here. Gaming is a great way to put your imagination to use. Okay. Now, what I'm looking at this point, I've always held I'm going to be staying away from the big topics. Okay. But I got told the other day this isn't working well. So what I've done is I've got now you'll love this. Well, maybe. Um oh yeah. The one god that's playing on the playing havoc with the undead chap. Scabies. Well, that's an interesting way to put it. The one god I've got who is dealing directly with the semi-dead is a basket case. He does things just to confuse the heck out of the player. Primarily because the player has got this godplex and decided that he is very powerful and he's going to take front line, and he deals way too much damage. Okay, but he is doing it by the rules in the book. So I don't exactly want to punish him for it, but on the other hand, he has created a problem. Now, one of the big things that I am looking at this point, I don't have my characters there. When we look at this world, and again, this is where your imagination comes in handy. Okay, you've got memories of a life that was better than what you're living now, potentially. Okay, you may now maybe they are from your recent past, and maybe things went sideways, or perhaps you have imagined living in a mansion with servants and the whole nine yards. Let's get started on doing that. But gaming works really well to make this happen. Okay, but I do have a question for you since I'm tangling with the five. Okay, the five issues that I'm looking at dealing with, I'm going to pull them apart piece at a time in a way. Okay, but not today. Okay, because I'm setting up, especially in the game that I'm running, I'm setting up an entire political array. Okay, for the people. Now, for you, those of you that are gamers that have played D&D for a while, okay, there was a game system that came out quite some time ago, back in the late 70s, early 80s, called Harn. Now, Harn was actually built, took 7 years in production, but Harn was actually built by my cousin. Needless to say, I come from a very twisted background. But I'm currently looking at not at the political system, the pedagogue, all of these big systems, and looking for a way to get it through to people that these have to change. Here's where the hiccups are. Okay, now here's a really twisted question for you guys. Okay, and yes, I am watching the chat room because, quite frankly, I watch the chat room over here because I can't see the one that far away. Actually, I really could. What a bizarre concept. Take these glasses and replace them with these ones. See, these ones are what I call my long viewers, because these ones I can actually read a little further. Okay. Oddly enough, I can read further outside, but those apparently are not going to work here. Now, who just contacted me here? Ah. Oh. That I have to go and check. Give me 5 seconds, guys. Okay, had to go check something, so I figured I'd grab that. And what do we got here? Oh, good. That's why I couldn't find it. Now, but Jesus. Okay, enough of the distractions, I hope. And what did I miss while I wandered off? Okay. Yeah, ultimately there, Neil. Oh. Oh yeah, you have to remember the dice. I've got all kinds of those floating around. But what this was about is one of my gamers actually found a couple of the old books that we require. Now, here's the kicker. Okay, when you're looking at building a world, okay, and let's take this and take a look at building the physical world that we're currently in, because we use the same principles. What did I just do with my book? Right there. Now, let me ask you this, guys. Wait, let me ask you this. When we look at what I'm wondering is, in your guys' eyes, which is the most important to get turned around? Like, I've already got my ideas, but I've got five different systems here that we've got to tangle with and we've got to straighten out. Now, where it comes to my world, I'm building them from the ground up as I go along. But we've got a world here that is an absolute disaster, and this is where gaming can turn around. Okay. Um, Number one, we've got the political background. We've got the pedagogue, as in the teaching side of things. We've got the spiritual guides, and rest assured, from what I'm finding out, like I said, happy Halloween there, Kimberly. Glad you could join us. Like I said, I was going to avoid a lot of this, and I've been told that you can't continue to avoid it because it's fair. The system is working fine. It's the people that are guiding it that are causing the problem. Cowie, how are you? Glad you could join us. Okay. Um, so the spiritual system, the people guiding it are talking, I get a kick out of this. Okay. Where it comes to the spiritual side. Now, bear in mind, I am a firm believer in God, in Jesus. Okay, and yes, here we are gaming. By the way, gaming can't be evil. God wouldn't make anything evil, apparently. But I'll tell you, for something written about a God that is supposed to treat everybody equally. Somebody want to tell me why in this particular Bible it tells you that women are second class citizens. They cannot be held responsible. Got news for you, they can. Well, in all fairness, Cowie, we are looking at what happens when your memories come back, but we're tying it in with gaming, with building, with what I'm doing there. Like, it's kind of a mesh because of what I went through yesterday. I think, and I didn't see an answer come through. Just because of the fact I'm a little lost. Um, did I actually come on air yesterday? Because I'm thinking not. I don't recall coming on air. That I absolutely agree with there, Derek. And this is why I keep trying to tell people. Okay, yes, God isn't evil, but He did create the good, the evil, and the neutral. Yeah, to say the least, Neil. Okay, but I'm looking at this. My father, I told my father on his deathbed I would read this cover to cover. Okay, and right now I have managed to get. It's going to take me a while. Right now I'm only into numbers, but what I'm finding is that the spiritual guides that we've got leading the world today, are number one leading it down a very black path and still holding to the idea that everybody is not equal. Everybody is not of the same cut. Oh, Callie, you know, Earth itself, you should try my legacy there. Earth itself is a fantastic place. Yeah, but no mercy. I absolutely agree with you as far as, God, good God, evil devil. Except God created the devil, meaning God had to create it all. Because if you believe that God created everything, okay, let's start off with the other issue. Yeah, my Neil goes, my grandfather read the Bible cover to cover, and when he eventually finished, my grandmother said, "Was it worth it?" I gotta know what her answer was, just because I'm nosy. Absolutely, call it what you will. Okay, now I've taken on with game mastering. I'm playing absolute havoc with these people. From my standpoint, from my standpoint, first of all, if it's an historical document, and parts of it are actually right on the money. Okay, parts of it can be proven, but much of the philosophy we've got to turn around now. And when I say we, I mean you guys, myself. We are the ones that actually have control over where things go, but it depends on what we do. Okay. Okay. Now, I pulled a fast one on my characters on my on my game day, which is Sunday. Okay. I made the thieves book. Okay, like the Thieves Guild in my world. I turned it into the greatest thieves guild that you could find. They're rats, led by one rat with a brain. The rest of them are just rats. I mean, there are a few others, but when we start looking at shifting the whole system, now, like I said, the system that this world is built on and gaming worlds, in case you hadn't noticed, many game masters will take a look, take a view. How we doing, Ken? Glad you could join us. And by the way, I did get your message. I think I answered it. I think, but I'm a little hooped there. You suggested that I start putting together short stories of some of my past lives, of some of my memories. And I'm going to take you up on that. It just means I've got 17 other things going at the same time. But when I look at it, we've got to take a look at what the government is actually designed for. Okay. And much more importantly, let me ask you this. If we look at a government official, a political official, a teacher, a spiritual guide, okay, or a parent, which one has the most influence over the kids? Um, serious answer. No mercy. No mercy is asking, can you see your future lives? Serious question. And thank you for clarifying that. But the answer to your question is you don't see your future lives, but you can co-create them. I am in the next lifetime I come into. Oh, that's fantastic, Ken. The next time I came in and the next time that I come back, which by the way, if I get my way, and usually I do. Okay, I'm 60 right now. I'm aiming to live to 137 at least. And yeah, I know that's a stretch and a half. Okay, but I figure I already walked out of the morgue once, been dead 9 times, possibly 10. Okay, but what you can do, and you yourself can do it. There's an old saying that goes, "All that I do, thou shalt do, and more." Okay, and what I mean by that is get straight in your own head what you're going to do with your next life. I suggest you get your tail in gear and deal with this one first. But okay, but with my next life, okay, with my next life, I'm coming back into a lifetime where I have access to a lot of money. I don't care how they got it. I don't care if they broke the law to get it, and I'm not breaking the law to keep it. What are we here? I can only read part of that. Um, Philip goes, whoever earns trust is that is that I do not quite understand the question there, Philip. But no, in all fairness, no mercy. You desire your life. You desire a better life. I do suggest working on the one you're living in. This is what I'm working on personally. But my next life, I'm coming in to a lot of money. How the legacy gets built, don't care. I am going to finish off what I'm starting this lifetime. Okay. As in, I am going to turn around. And when I talk about things we've got to start doing, okay, I mean literally as a society, okay, as a society, we've got to take control of what's going on in our world. And the way you do that is look at where your life is. Now, I've got a gaming system where I've got literally, we've got the players, 6 gods, 3 good, 3 bad, that this game themselves. I literally took the idea of what people keep saying, oh, God's making is in control of everything. These 6 gods are going, okay, I get to move first. So I've got the characters laid out. And then all of a sudden, and this happened in the last game, they were all laid out and they were about to kill an adversary. And one of the gods goes, nope, he's not there anymore. Didn't kill him, just moved him out of the equation. Right now, yes, the god could have brought him back from the dead anyway. But what do we got? Technically, Ken, you are correct. I could change that. Yeah, Ken goes, you will change that maybe after you get to their side. Here's the funny thing. What was that? Oh, I thought you said something to me. Okay. All right. No problem. Ken, you are correct. It is possible once I get to the other side. I could change it. Fact of the matter is, my last several lifetimes, I went, this is what I'm doing. And here we are. Okay. I came back here this lifetime. The last lifetime, I saved a young reptilian alien lass. I came back specifically this time to track her down, to make sure she survived. Gordana, how you doing? Glad you could join us. So technically I could change it. Yeah, I could change my mind. Nobody in all of my lifetimes has ever managed to convince me to change things. Yes, I was. Ah, that's what that meant. Okay, thank you so much for clarifying, Philip. Philip goes, regarding which of those people can have the biggest influence. And what Philip came back with was whoever earns the trust. And that is, on the whole, correct. No Mercy says, when I was younger, I fell from a height that should have killed me or seriously injured me. Something grabbed me halfway down and set me on the ground. You're the second person I know of that's had that happen. Would have been really nice if that had happened to me on occasion. And whatever you do, first and foremost, that was real. Do not let anybody tell you that was your imagination. I mean, let them tell you it. Okay, but your memory is undoubtedly a whole lot more solid than theirs is, given the odds are they weren't there. Okay, Wyatt, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Now, what I'm looking at here with the gaming side, and what did I do with it? With the game, I've got to develop. Well, first of all, the Thieves Guild, because there has to be a Thieves Guild in any city. Let's face it, if society is not equal, and this applies to every level of society. Okay, if society is not built where the laws are equal for everybody, a subculture will develop. Okay, so what I did was I went, okay, Here we have the gods playing their game, moving players around, adding people in that just come out of nowhere. Okay, because this is the gods playing havoc. Now, if you believe the gods are up to that, then you clearly don't believe one other little detail. And that is that God gave you free will and freedom of choice. What he didn't give you was freedom from consequence. Absolutely, there, Neil. Yeah, Gordon, I've been going through a lot of. I used to have a lot of different Bibles. I've been paring them down primarily because I found they all say the same thing, just using different words. But I figure, okay, um, ultimately you are correct, but that's a very small number. You know, no mercy goes. Some humans aren't human. What I found with humanity, with many humans, is humans have lost their humanity. Okay. See, the sad part there is I know where all that started, but I've already started writing articles about the hospitality industry and how to work with it. And bear in mind, I will eventually open a restaurant given I get the money together, where these principles I'm putting into place are going to be implemented. Okay. I am going to start pointing out where we have hiccups in all of the above because it has to be done. Well, technically, I could leave it alone. Let's face it, I've ignored the world for 55 years. I could seriously continue doing that. But I got told the other day enough is enough. Okay. These people are not learning, they're not figuring it out on their own, and they don't have the tools. Okay. Let's face it. You take a look at the way the world is sitting right now. We cannot really blame the teachers, and I mean all of the adults. The adults have been taught the same way for literally centuries. Okay, so I now have a way I've taken with my game. I've turned around and got them all working towards similar towards their own little things. Yeah, that's just twisted. But no, the reality is we have to take a look at what we're and what you're doing as an individual to correct your life path. Okay, where did I put the little thing? Oh, put him over there. Got this guy right, and it was suggested what to do with him, so I'm going to deal with that to a degree. Take that, and we grab this. And look, we've even got a toothpick there. But we have to look at this world and go, okay, what are we doing with it? And what are you doing with your world? Where are we? Yeah, I noticed that too. And that one I have no way of dealing with and no knowledge of how to deal with it even if I did. Okay. I'd apologize, but there's not much I can do with it. Because the best I can suggest, because I got no technical knowledge on this one. Oh, did we happen to hit? Uh-oh. Um, Let me turn this on and see if I've got anything coming in. Oh, no. See, now I'm looking over here. I'm looking at the same stream you got here, but I'm getting volume. Oh, perfect, Neil. Corroboration there. Let me kill off this thing. There. Thank you for the corroboration. I really appreciate that. You know, I'm looking at this world and going, okay, perfect, Gordana. By the way, I'm presenting. So, has Charlie come home yet? I know you've seen him, and you guys have apparently found out he's in the area, which is great. This means he's not dead. Definitely a plus. But we have to look at this world and go, what can we do to change your world in your immediate vicinity? And that really boils down to deciding what it is you desire your world to look like. So I've got the gods getting involved, and that's just simply to create chaos. I'm sure of it. But what we have to remember is that every human has the capacity, every corporeal, never mind human, has the capacity to change your own world. Let us not forget that whatever you decide that you're going to create, okay, if you stay focused on it, you'll be able to do so. But you're the one that's going to have to make the effort. Okay, right now, and we'll get some of this done while I'm working at it, but the biggest thing I'm looking at this point is all of the systems I was talking about are intertwined. Now, do understand, this world is a mess, absolutely. But the system itself was actually built very well. Now, I would suggest people turn around and start, if you don't like the way your world is, it's time to start modifying things around you. It's time to start speaking up and letting people know what you're not content with. Do not do what I did. Okay. I spent 55 years ignoring the world. That didn't work out all that well. Yeah. Now I got to find the person I can write down on water. Oh, I know what you do is you freeze it and then chew it and chip it in. Water has memory. And here's the funny thing. Okay, here's the really comical part. So many people tell me their memory is garbage. Your memory is absolutely 100% perfect. Okay, what is faltered, what has faltered is your recall. Okay, and that's something that can be worked on. I'm living proof of it. Of course, I'm living proof of a lot of things. Now, one of the biggest issues I look at is this. What, in your eyes, what needs to change in your world directly around you to make your life better? Okay, because I will tell you, we get enough little pockets of people changing things, and the world will change for the better. It's kind of like you get enough little fires, and all of a sudden you got a forest fire. Well, it's time to start. Like I said, it is time to start another pandemic, which I understand somebody said they're trying on a new one. But I'm talking about a pandemic of people smiling at each other, like the people in this chat room, people reaching out to help each other. This is what we require. Okay. Because if we don't start doing it, you can bet your bottom dollar that when we look at the way society is being run right now, it's certainly not being run for the greater good. This much is just blatantly obvious. Gotta be careful I don't paint myself there too much. And I saw something come in here. I find, and that method does work, writing it down on a piece of paper or what have you. Here's the thing. Whoop, not that. This little list. No, where the heck is my little list? This one. Okay. As you can see, I keep a list going. Over half of this list has been completed. So I started on the back side of it. But by breaking your tasks down into 15-minute to half-hour tasks, you'll be able to pull things together. And yes, Philip, Total Recall is very much a prime example of that. Okay, we all have 100% memory, but we are told you will lose your mind, you will lose your memory as you get older. Your eyesight will falter as you get older. Your hearing will falter as you get older. Okay. Um, that's just it, Gordana. You can get really carried away with a list. But the recommended method of working with this, write 3 things down. Be certain that each one of them only takes 15 minutes to half an hour. Okay. And then when you get one done, check it off, add a third one to the bottom. Now, do not forget to include such neat little things as, well, in a manner of speaking, we were actually born to live. Dying is a natural side effect of living a long time. But the question is really not how are you going to die, but how are you going to live? The one thing coming to this world that we were supposed to be doing is when you get here, find a way to make this a better world for to leave behind a better world than you came into. However you do that, that's your call. Okay, but so many people make the mistake of going, a better world means I've got more toys. And I'll tell you from what I've seen, that is not a good measurement. Even the off-worlders, even though they've got better toys than we've got in many ways, they are not on the path itself. Okay, I know this because not only do they have wars amongst them, they've got civil wars as well. Which, by the way, if mankind is not careful, I know right now the United States, Canada, Russia, and China are on the verge of civil wars themselves. That's the one hiccup. Okay. No mercy. No mercy goes service to others before service to self. Karmic law is pretty black and white. Be true to yourself first. Okay. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And energy out, energy in. You follow those 3 laws, and you will leave a world in better shape than when you got here. Okay. You will be able to help the people around you in a functional fashion. But it boils down to deciding, are you going to strap yourself? That's a depressing thought, Philip. Absolutely nothing. Let me point something out. You've made an interesting. Absolutely, Nathan. Presumably, you're working. You've chosen, Philip, to go. We start smelling like death before we die. Okay, which technically you can focus on that. But what about focusing on the other side? We start smelling like life before we die. Life and death are both different states of the same level of being. The sad part about it is the world is already in a world war. It's just people aren't recognizing it for what it is. But understand something about the 3 wars. The first will be fought with guns. The second will be fought with bombs. We don't know what the third world war will be fought with, but the fourth one will be fought with sticks and stones, meaning the third one's a bit of a mess. Why have the Third World War? Okay, why bother focusing on the Third World War, or on any war for that matter? War has never in all of recorded history brought peace. It's brought quiet, but it has never brought peace. And what we have to look at is what kind of a world do you desire to leave? In my case, I decided, I've finally got my head on straight. Oddly enough, I think you've got that backwards, possibly, Gordana. Okay, because what you've said is wars bring ideology. Ideology is what caused the war in the first place. Yes, very much. It's kind of like marriage is known to have only two outcomes. Okay, any marriage, I've only seen two outcomes. It ends in either divorce or in death. Either way, this is not a good thing. Okay, but the question that we've got to focus on here is not, are we going to get older? We are going to get older. Are you going to get old? This is a choice you've got to make. Well, you don't have to. You can carry on the path you're on. Okay. So, I mean, I'm looking at this going, okay, what do we do with it and where do we go from here? Okay, the sad reality that I'm looking at is this. In my gaming world, okay, I've got the gods playing havoc. I've got the political maneuvering starting in. Okay, obviously we've already got the Thieves Guild, but here's the kicker. The one character is now going after the Rod of Seven Parts. Okay, that will draw him all over the place. Okay, the other one is building, the thief is actually building a gambling empire. And that's what he's focusing on. It's more they won't see it, but you are right, Philip. There's way more profit and peace. Think of it this way. If we look at it, and I'm doing this with the gamers, okay, they're looking at it going, okay, we've got all this stuff going on. What are you going to do with it? Now, I'm looking at it going, let's see what they do with it. I'm throwing a few wrenches into things. But the thing that you have to look at, let's take a look at life. Okay, life itself is a role-playing game. The only problem is the game master, hate to tell you this, it's not that he's evil, it's not that he's vindictive, it's he gave you freedom and free will and free choice. A game master in D&D gives you free will and freedom of choice, not freedom from consequence. Joe goes, there's more divorced men than divorced women. Okay. The reason I'm sitting here a little confused. Oh, I get, well, in all fairness, considering the fact that what I've come to understand is men and women do not think, they don't desire anything different than the others. Okay, on specifics, certainly. Absolutely, Philip. Okay, and this is one of the things we have to learn that I'm looking at with this series here. Not near the price. Okay, but this neat little series here that I'm worried that I'm in the car in the process of writing. Okay, this series. These I literally am selling at only $20 in your hand. Okay, but that's believe in yourself and follow your dreams. This one literally tells you how I took my life. Well, that sounds bad. I didn't take my life, I'm still breathing. Okay, but that's the one that tells how I took my life and turned it around. Okay, then the backbone for how I'm building my business. Now, bear in mind, I've already got a superstructure for a corporation-sized business. The principles of running a house and running a massive intercontinental business are exactly the same. Okay, then I did this one, believe in your finances. The reason being there are a staggering number of things out there. And get this book, the principles I'm teaching in here that I talk about in here, I'm actually utilizing with my son. My son is the gamer that's playing the thief become businessman. Kind of go hand in hand, I think. Okay. But he's learning how to decide which finances have to be used for what. And he's learning how. And this is where gaming becomes very much an interesting setup. Okay. When you take a look at gaming, okay, you can teach people not what to think. This is where the pedagogical society system in this world has gone completely sideways. Okay, where they are no longer teaching people how to think, they are doing their level best to teach people what to think. And that, in and of itself, is where the biggest problem is. Because people no longer have that drive to learn. Okay. And this is why we have to start looking at this world and go, okay, what are we going to do to make your life better? Like, if there was one thing, when I take a look at my gaming world, I've got one guy, the guy that is a sort of dead chap, and I've decided to play Havoc with him. Matter of fact, I played Havoc with him to the point that he was actually banned from a bar until he could figure out how to get back in. Because somebody decided to ward the bar against undead, which meant he all of a sudden couldn't stay in the bar he was supposed to be in. The really neat part about it is he was talking to one of the other players, right, to find a way around it. Um, that is not surprising, Philip. I can tell you from practical experience, I am divorced. And there are times when, yes, I absolutely get lonely. By the way, when people tell me that my wife thinks so much differently than me, or my husband does, a male will never think like a female or vice versa. Okay. Doesn't work that way. It's a great thought, but it doesn't work that way. But men and women of all ages and every other race I've ever run into, you guys all desire the same thing: respect. You desire a safe house, a safe roof over your own house. You desire food on your table. Okay. You desire to be accepted as you are. And this is one of the things that I look at in this chat room and go, this is the microcosm that we've got to spread. Okay. That we have to turn around. And what's going to happen here, and I'm going to end up releasing, I've got another, matter of fact, I don't know where it is offhand. I've got a couple of, where is it? Right there. This is called going completely sideways on myself. I do that a lot in case you hadn't noticed. Philip, I agree with you wholeheartedly there. Let me see. These are not in alphabetical order. This much is clear. I am actually looking for, and it's probably easier looking for it in the other book. See, I find that my mind works extremely well, extremely different. Okay, so I end up writing. I end up writing things down in a different fashion. Some cases, different languages. Not that one. Of course, we're going to have trouble finding it because half of it's written backwards. What is that? Nope. But I find if we take a look at the world and we decide, okay, it's time to change things. Let me ask you this. Okay, I'm in the process of building a different world that I am inviting everybody into. Oh, yeah, I can't go. I don't go that long. That is not going there. I know an easier way to find the one I'm looking for. Is this one here. Go all the way back into here. And it comes. This one right here. I did this the other day, and I'm a lousy reader in case you hadn't noticed. Okay, but where are we? I think it's the one right before that. Pop that over there. And Shadow Stalker, which I don't know, which is not the one I'm referring to. But I look at the world and go, what we've got right now is just an absolute disaster, but we have the choice as to whether or not we're going to make it, whether or not we're going to leave it the way it is, or make it better. The question you have to ask is, do you desire to make the world better? You know, I mean, that's the biggest thing I look at. But when I look at the game, everybody's got their own ideas. Okay, when you sit down to game, you got to understand the similarity between gaming and between the gaming world and the real one is absolutely bizarre. Oh, in my interpretation, I don't know. I do know what sadistic and voyeurism means. Basically, sadistic voyeurism, in my interpretation, would have to be somebody that enjoys letting other people know they're watching. You know, people that don't like being watched, in order to cause them pain while they're doing whatever. Okay, voyeurism obviously is looking in on people doing things that should be left in private. Okay, when you're looking at a sadist, you're looking at somebody that enjoys causing pain. And the only way that you could do that, in all fairness, is if you were to turn around and make certain the person knew that you were watching. Okay. Or you watch somebody getting hurt and sat down and simply watched them get hurt and didn't bother doing anything else. Now, let me ask you this. Okay. Is there anything of any value in that kind of a perspective? Because I do know 95% of perceptions do have a positive note to them. Sometimes it's a little tricky to find it. Ow, that hurts. Where are we here? Yeah. Grab those. Can't find what I'm looking for. One when you find it the other. But take a look at your world. Okay. We have everybody's being taught the same way. You have a good one there, Wyatt. Thanks for dropping by. Okay. You know, I look at the way the world is and go, you have a choice. You can continue looking at the world and seeing the negative. Or you can do like I've done and gone, okay, there is negative out there, but what do we do to make it better? You know, where is the positive side of it and what can we do to encourage said side? Okay, that's the biggest thing you have to look at. Is there's got to be a way to take this world from where it is. And this is where becoming a game master came in real handy. Because I got three people, very different walks of life. Okay. One is literally a human, but he's a thief. Okay. And he's trying to be a businessman. In today's world, this almost goes hand in hand, it seems. Okay. And what we're looking at, what we're doing there, is helping him figure out how to run a business, which, yes, I've already written a book on how to do that. I don't deal with the governmental paperwork. That you're going to have to figure out. Okay, but the thing with gaming is all of these guys have come up with their own ideas as to what they want their character to be capable of. So I do my best to facilitate and let them make the choices they'd like, and then let them deal with it. And what do we got? I get frustrated with our behavior and turn off the news. Understandable there, Philip. I haven't watched the news itself in probably 15 years for exactly the same reason. Basically, it boils down to telling you all the things that are going wrong and not giving you anything positive to work with, which is why I started the newsletter in the first place. Okay, now, when we take a look at it, this guy is slowly coming together. But as you can well imagine, while I'm working on it, by the way, this guy does in the game exist. They've already run into him. I gotta quit painting my fingers. The gamers have already run into this chap. And so I'm looking at this and going, okay, I've got an opportunity here to build a world. But while I'm doing that, I'm going, okay, I've got this great big vision. I don't like the way that our modern world is running. It is completely backwards to my way of thinking. Okay, people are taught to fear, they're taught to focus on fear and focus on immediate gratification. This has never worked well. Absolutely. It's funny you should mention that, Philip. That is a possibility, yes. Okay. There's a lot of things you can do with the imagination, but here's a funny kicker. What can you do with your imagination with your life? Okay. And this is why I said I'm starting to tangle with that. Okay. One of the biggest things I'm right now working on certain articles for the newsletter that I'm also going to be posting in here. Okay. You know, somebody like this looks absolutely scary as heck. Okay. But looks can be deceiving. You know, the gentlest giant can turn out to be the worst possible individual available. But it depends entirely on the personality of the person, not on their looks. Okay. And this is why I say you're looking in your world. Now I'm looking at mine going, finances are a shambles, and I do know that the one kicker to it is if I don't actually get off my tail feathers and let people know that these books are available, they're certainly not going to do anything. But the silly thing is, if you've got a game, now I tried the idea of letting characters decide on their own path, but here's the kicker to it. People, unfortunately, are not at this point really versed at starting their own direction because we're taught you're not supposed to. Yeah, we're taught the second you get an idea that goes outside the norm, oh, that won't work. You know, the really difficult part. I mean, I love the way like Gordana put it very nicely, where she goes, life is theater. Each of the actors have their own roles and stage settings. Absolutely. But life itself, much as it is a game in a lot of ways. You have the choice of striving to live life on your own or striving to push your own limits and attain the goals that you have laid out for you. But again, this is done one step at a time. It did not, in all likelihood, change overnight. You didn't develop the situation you've got overnight, in all likelihood. Okay. And therefore, it's going to take a little bit of time to get it changed back to something more effective for you. See what I'm doing here, and I am not great with the painting side of it, but what I'm doing here is literally taking an idea, and I think it was Nathan that told me, okay, to mix him up with various shades of blue. So that's what's happening. But I figured, okay, I gotta separate it into patterns that make sense. And fortunately, the musculature here is working quite nicely. Now, here's the kicker. I've got a figure here that's got muscles. I've got a figure here, not so much so, but I am working on them. And again, it boils down to deciding, okay, you've got a life. Okay, you theoretically, it's time to figure out what you desire to make your life look like. Are you content with the way this world is? If not, what do you have the capacity to change? And rest assured, I know the governments are, the governmental system was set up right. Problem is, we have been taught that immediate gratification is the key. Okay, we've been taught that the more stuff you have, the more successful you are. Well, I'm telling you, it doesn't work quite that way. Now, don't get me wrong, I used to believe the same thing. I just didn't like the same thing, so I didn't develop it anyway. You know, so what I'm looking at here is this character is slowly coming together, but he's being done in patchwork, as it were. But like I said, I decided, okay, I tried to go the route of put these guys in a bar and figure out what to do. Problem was, none of them really came up with a combined path. So I've had to step in. Now here's the kicker. If you don't take control of your life, God is not going to come down and straighten it out for you. Okay, he's not going to come down and straighten out this mess. He gave you free will, he gave you free choice. It's up to you to put it to use. It's up to you to use that imagination that you were told is useless. Oh, that's a wonderful imagination, Junior. Now grow up and be an adult. Imagination is the key to changing this world. But you've got to be able to visualize the change that you desire to make. You don't have to know what it's going to look like. This is the miscalculation. What is required is that you know what you're not content with and make the effort to change those aspects. Because once you change the things you're not content with, all you've got left is a world you're content with. This is how you get back to having that fine little thing called the Garden of Eden. I put my glasses down, forgot what I did with them. There we are. Absolutely, Gordana. This is what I keep telling people. I absolutely agree with you. You will get older. Whether you get old or not is up to you. Now, granted, as you get older, if you've lived a rough life, like I'm not going out to run a marathon anytime soon. I've got legs that just won't handle it. Okay. And I can tell myself all I'd like that it isn't. Um, there are here's the thing, Philip, which God won't come down. There's a lot of people that will come down. If you take a look back, any one of the Norse gods, the Roman gods, the Greek gods, the Egyptian gods, and even any of the native gods. Okay. Now, it's very simple. Okay. There are many people claiming to be a god. Okay, that what they've got is better toys than you've got. But the moment somebody says, I'm better than you, they are no longer God material because a God does not compare itself to somebody else. He doesn't require worshipers, he doesn't require prayers. Okay, you were given free choice, you were given free will. Okay, now that said, this planet, this one you're living on, is the one that you get the pleasure of trying to turn around. Okay, but I'm here to tell you it can be done, and it can be done very effectively. It's just a question of whether you're willing to put the effort in. It's not going to happen overnight. There's part of me that says it would be nice, but that's a very unrealistic approach. Okay, because it didn't take just one night, if you will, to screw things up. It's taken a lot of concerted effort from a lot of people. But if we don't start something at this point, what you're going to be left with is an absolute shambles. Okay, probably not the greatest legacy for the people you're leaving behind. And I don't just mean your bloodline. I mean I mean the friends, the strangers, the acquaintances, anybody that outlives you. Okay, this is our opportunity to turn things around. But we've got to focus on what's possible, not on just the easiest way. Yeah, that's the funny thing there, Philip. You know, this whole issue of this whole issue of growing older. We come to understand that people are not being dead honest. That's where I ran into one of the biggest hiccups in my life. Was I never understood the purpose of lying. I couldn't remember what I was saying to start with. So I couldn't see the point in lying about it. It just made it way too complicated to remember what I was talking about. You know, at this point, I'm looking at the world going, okay, let's see what we can do. So I'm building, while I am building this world for my players to work in, I'm also building the same thing on this side. Okay. Now, granted, I'm not going around killing people so that I can have money. I have a problem with that idea. First of all, you remember that thing about do unto others as you desire them to do unto you? You don't want somebody to try and kill you. It's recommended you don't start trying to kill others because it doesn't get received well. You know, as you can see, we're slowly getting things done here. Emphasis on the word slow. But when you take a look at it, as your memories come to the surface, and this is where things came in really handy. When I started remembering my memory in the Roman Legion, my life in the Roman Legion, and I started remembering it in detail. Okay, it's amazing how many legionnaires, and it's the same in today's world. Most of the military people are decent individuals. Not if you watched what was the show. I'm drawing a blank. Funny part about it, when you start looking at the Tooth Fairy, okay, it depends on what you believe the Tooth Fairy is. But, when you take a look at a lot of the traditions people have, many of them are designed to try and make things a little easier. Usually easier for the kids. The unfortunate part is that today's world focuses on the easy way of doing things. What is the quickest way of getting self-gratification? Or more to the point, instant gratification. Okay, this is a thought process that has become sadly almost rampant. Okay, but I will caution you. You find a spiritual leader that you desire to follow. Make sure they're following their own guidelines. Okay, if they tell you they're going to lead you to a better world and they start handing out guns, you might want to question what the world is they're trying to build for you. Because I'm thinking it's not quite as better as you're being led to believe. One of the things we have to look at when I'm building this world for the game, I've got the entire political system laid out. I know who's in charge. I know which people, or more to the point, what the ratios are of people that are decent and the ones that are not so decent. Okay, but it boils down to knowing what you desire to have in your life. So I'm looking at the room I've got here and striving to emulate it in as much as I'm looking at changing the way my world looks so that I can have what I'm seeking. And yes, absolutely people are invited. As a matter of fact, later tonight, since I didn't find that poem yet, I'm going to track it down. I'm going to post it on the different social media I've already got active. But I'll post it later tonight after I get done the stream. Okay. Simply because, well, frankly, I want to. And it is one of these poems that's going into my poetic anthology. You're kidding me, right? Tell you, there are days where I really question my own intellect. A lot of them, by the way. Carl, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Hopefully your day is going well. Yeah, that falls under the category of don't eat the yellow, brown, blue, or green snow either. Okay, it's not new color, it's not new flavors. Well, it is, just not a good idea. I think something just dawned on me here. As a matter of fact, I know it did. If we go to here, open that up, then we go to that one, and we go to that one. And there. And that should find exactly what I'm looking for. Find it the easy way, shall we? We go. Hmm. Oh, okay. Haven't done that one yet. Yeah, of course. Haven't got it in there. Either one of them, in all fairness. So let's stop looking for that. But I will be posting a couple of poems today after the stream. Oh, that's the ones I popped out. So I will get to them afterwards. But when you start looking at your memories, okay, the neat thing that gamers have an advantage over other people in a lot of cases is we've already got a well-developed imagination that we encourage each other to utilize. Myself, no. You know, Carlos is just asking, um, celebrating Halo's evening, anyone? Myself, no. I quit celebrating that a long time ago, not because I don't believe in it, but because I don't enjoy getting out and about anymore. And frankly enjoy it a whole lot less. But when memories start to come back, one of the things I really want to point out to people is this. Okay, when your memory starts to come back, many times a memory will be blocked out. We're told it's blocked out because of trauma. Okay, it's not always trauma. Sometimes just too many things get going on and you just forget. But here's the kicker. When it starts to come out, don't get stuck on just that memory. Look at the memories connected to it and focus on paying more attention to the broader picture. Okay, this will set the stage to open a lot of new doorways for you. Where is should in all likelihood. I hate when my mind gets stuck on something that I'm looking for. This is why I said there's a lot of things that are coming, that are coming to bear. But we have to decide, first of all, as parents, okay, are we going to teach our kids to fear? Are we going to teach our kids to be rude? Are we going to teach our kids to be greedy? That is the choice. Okay. Well, this one I like. This is one I wrote way back in 2000. Okay. I wrote this myself back in 2000. Okay. It's called Believe in You. Believe in whom and what you are. Remember what you were. Plan for what you choose to be and co create your world. Live ne'er again in sacrifice for other people's joy. Believe in what you're worthy of and that you're not a toy. The time has come to see your world and lay your boundaries out. Believe in everything you choose, relinquish every doubt. For as you come to see yourself as other people do, you'll come to see your truth as well, and thus believe in you. It boils down to a very simple issue. Take a look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I being, as it were, the best I can be? Those shouldn't be there. Yo, that one I didn't write. But no, these are all like this whole stack. This is why I said I've got a poetic anthology I just have to pull together. Where is this one? Whole bunch of different things I got started on and never got to finish. Nope, nope. Okay, Gordana, this is actually where you've got things a little sideways. Okay, Gordana has said first thing people think of when they wake up is money and how to make it. By all means, even walking over dead bodies nowadays. First rule of thumb, and I know this from an absolute certainty. The first thing people think about, yes, we are taught we're supposed to think about money, but that is not what I find most people think about to start with. Okay, most people are thinking about what they desire their world to look like. Most people wake up going, I'm not happy with my world. But nobody's telling them, and this is where we come in here. Okay. Nobody's saying, hey, slow down. This is wrong, that's wrong, no problem. But find something positive to look at. Okay. Yeah, and I mean I used to be very facetious about it. I'm positive I'm broke, which pretty much I am. But that's a temporary annoyance. Sadly, Philip, it reduces the immediate bite, but it doesn't make them go away. And this is what people have when I was talking about immediate gratification. Okay. The painful memories, the trick to making them less painful is frankly look at them and find something that came out of them that was good. Okay. I went through a period just last week that was an absolute shambles. Okay. And I got looking at it going, okay, I'm not happy with the way my world is. I'm not happy with the way my finances are. Therefore, how am I going to turn this around? Okay. And how much time do I have to do it? Well, the reality is, if I stay focusing on the finances and the things that are wrong, I know this is going to run into a problem. Okay. An absolute disaster. And all the drugs in the world, all the alcohol in the world, isn't going to make that thing go away. Okay. Granted, you can drink yourself into a stupor, you can get so high that you cannot relate to what's going on. This doesn't make it go away. It just doesn't. Okay. And what we have to look at is realistically, and Gordana will take a look at that thing about the first thing people say and think of when they wake up. How about you deliberately train yourself when you wake up in the morning to spot the first thing in your room that you feel is in the wrong place? Focus on getting that into the right place. Okay, because I will tell you this. As you start changing the energy in your house, you will find the energy up here starts to sort itself out. Okay, the thing is, we've been taught that money, absolutely with patience there, Carl, absolutely. Okay, we've been taught that money is the root of all evil, and it is not. Money is a symbol. That's it. In my opinion, it's real simple. It's easier to move a $10 bill than it is to move a cow. The $10 bill you pick up, you put in your pocket, away you go. Or the quarter if that's all you've got. Okay. If that's all you've got, it's still easier than moving a chicken. Because I'm telling you, chickens did not cooperate that well. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to go and grab my other coffee. And yeah, I get to do that. I know I drink too much. Coffee, that is. Oh, okay. Oh, that's right, too. Okay, I have that all important black liquid. See, they call oil liquid gold. I don't know about you. This stuff to me, it's certainly not gold, but it certainly helps me a lot more in some ways. Besides that, have you ever tried? Well, you know, have you ever tried drinking liquid gold? This is just a bad idea. When we look at the world you're sitting in, okay, it really boils down to this. What is it that you're content with? Leave that alone, but identify the thing you're not content with. When you focus on making changes in your life, in the energy flow, okay, that's when your life starts to alter gears, starts to shift gears. It won't shift just because you go, I want my world, I desire my world to change. And you'll notice I caught myself there. Okay. I said I want and I cut it off when I desire. The reason being, and it did take me some time to develop that habit, but the reason for it is when you utter the term I want or I need, what you're actually telling the universe or telling God or telling the angels, your guardian angels, whatever, what you're telling them is, I desire to experience a lack of whatever. Okay. You know, the reality of it is you've got the capacity to alter the way your world is. I took a young lass that was living on the street, that was really down and depressed with herself because everything had gone wrong, everything in her life had gone wrong, and she was blaming everybody else. All my choices got taken away, and I looked at her and I said, let me ask you this. Okay, you come from an abusive home. Right? She goes, yeah. I said, you chose. You could have gone and reported the problem to the authorities. Not that that would have necessarily done a lot of good, but you could have gone that route. You could have gone to a shelter. Okay. You chose to live on the street. And that boiled down to you turned around and said, I'm doing it my way. Well, the long and the short of it was we ended up getting her head turned around straight. She ended up getting her feet back on the ground and becoming self-supporting almost. I mean, she was still on subsidy, but the reality is that so much more than what she had. You know, you have to be willing to look in the mirror and see, are you content with you? Like I look in the mirror and I look at this and go, no, I haven't shaved today. Of course, my other half isn't living here. Okay. And the rest don't matter. Don't take that the wrong way, guys. But in order for your life to change for what you consider the better, you've got to look at what you're not content with. And you've got to determine, are you going to change it? Okay. Or are you going to sit there and blame everybody else for the problems you're running into? Not perfect, but as you can see, he's starting to take on color. The thing we have to remember is whatever the world is you've got in your hands. Life is a game. That was a near disaster. Life really is a game. The question is, how do you determine? Anybody got any idea how to determine if you're winning at the actual physical game of life? Do you have any idea of what you would consider a marker that says you're winning? Um, I get a kick out of that there, Philip. Philip goes, change is like a diaper. It's not fun sitting in a soiled diaper. No, but, okay, we're taught change is scary. Change is painful. Change is frightening. Change is hard. Everything I've just said has elicited change. Okay, and that's exactly the key there, football. If you're not content with what you're doing, it's time to identify that and start making changes to that, to what is not making you happy. Okay. But every time somebody says anything or thinks anything, you're going through change. Yeah. That's an interesting way to put it. The thing is, change is work. But if you think about it, football, work is defined as moving a mass over a distance. That's work. When you're thinking, you're working. And it's been proven if you think a lot, you can actually drop weight. You can actually burn calories by thinking. But yes, change does require work. Change also requires effort. Okay. You've got to believe that you've got to make the change for you. Now, you've got a choice. Change requires work, but so does living in misery. You have to literally choose, in most cases, to stay put. Now, do understand, if you're a child and you're living in an abusive home, your options are limited. If you're in a relationship where you're being abused, okay, and do not get me wrong, I've seen enough abusive relationships in my life, not that I bothered participating in them, okay, but where people have gone, well, is he going to change? I'm just trying to, I want this to work. no matter how much you want something to work, it's your effort is only 50% of the required effort. Taking this neat little figure into consideration, I desire him to be painted. How much do you think it's going to work if I just sit there going, I desire him to be painted? How much luck is it likely to? How much of an impact is that likely to have? Move that over there. Grab this. Hey, that was not nice. Oh, that really wasn't nice. That wasn't what I had in mind at all there, guys. Nope, want this one. I can think about desiring change all I'd like. But if I don't get off my tail feathers and make things happen, my life is going to stay the way it is. And I'm telling you, it doesn't work as well as you might think. Okay, and this is what we have to deal with. You've got to look in the mirror and go, am I content with what I've got? And no, you're not going to get it overnight. You're not going to get the change overnight. That's just not the way this works. Okay. It really boils down to you've got to make the decision what you're willing to do, what effort you're willing to put in. Because if you don't put the effort in, you're not going to end up with the outcome you're aiming for. Somebody else isn't coming here to straighten it out for you. Okay, I know it would be so much easier if they did. But unfortunately, you're pretty much hooped on that. Okay, so let me ask you this. Are you content with your life as it is? If the answer is yes, then frankly, stay put with it. But if the answer is no, it's time to really shift gears. It's time to start talking to people that have changed, that have tackled the problem you're dealing with. One of the biggest problems I find most people have, and it boils down to gaming and real life. And like I said, real life itself is a game. Okay. It's a question of how you play it as to whether or not you're going to create, not find, whether you're going to create happiness in your world. Okay. That's the thing you've got to look at. What do we got? Ah, yo, I mean, I look at it and I'm going, okay, this world that I'm living in has to be changed. I'm no longer content with it and I'm running out of room to work with. So I'm choosing to make alterations. The question is, are you going to make alterations to your life? Now, I am quite willing to sit down with any one of you, okay, or for that matter, all of you. But what I'm doing here, this chap, this particular character I've got here, he is actually an interesting little individual. He looks scary as hell, but the reality is he's actually one of the nicer people in the city. Again, never ever ever judge a book by its cover. I mean, certainly, I have come to understand that where it comes to cover art for an actual book, that's extremely important in getting people's attention. But where it comes to people, okay, where it comes to dealing with other people, understand clothing does not make the person, but it will alter somebody's perception. Robert, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Ultimately, I wouldn't say nobody, but I do agree. The majority of people have been taught to desire everything else. I hope things are healing nicely for you. I know you certainly seem to, things look like they're coming back together. You know, I always held, I mean, the decision you made, give yourself a pat on the back. Okay. I always held, I could deal with being in a wheelchair. Being a quadriplegic, I am not impressed with the concept. But you got to give yourself a pat on the back for making an extremely difficult decision. Okay. In order to actually have some sort of a life. Very, very necessary from that standpoint. You know, and for what it's worth, I really do support your courage. There's a lot of people that could not make that decision or would not make that decision. But think of it this way, you still have a lot of time that you can now live. The question is, what do you do with it? Yeah, see, the fact of the matter is, take a look at your, what are we? Yeah, but it was a decision, yes, it's had ramifications that you may well not have looked at. And some decisions you just can only see so far. But now you can heal and start doing things. Okay, you got to work around it. Okay, absolutely. But at least you can work around it. You know, think of the other side of that because you've always gone out of your way to help other people. Think of how much less work, less worry it's going to be for the people around you having taken that decision and acted on it. Not an easy decision, and honestly, not one I'd look forward to making. Okay, but give yourself a pat on the back. That is undoubtedly, in my eyes anyway, one of the hardest decisions you'll ever have to make. Okay, but at least you don't have to worry about what's coming now with the infection. What's coming out with the rest of your world, that's up to you. What do we got? Robert goes, I still have rock cutting tools here. Small portable machine can be used. And that's fantastic, Robert. Okay. So you still got that. And let's face it, unless I misunderstand something here, when we're talking about your rock cutting and the rock cutting, you had to sit down to do it anyway. Okay. I'm pretty certain you didn't do a whole lot of it while you were standing up. Not if I understand it rightly. It's kind of like when I'm doing my little painting here. I don't do it standing up for a reason. Number one, I'll fall down. Number two, I can't hold it steady enough to work with it. But we are looking at a world. See, now you've done the ultimate thing there, Robert. You're a living example of making a decision that has altered the path of your life overnight. Okay. The question is what you do with it now that you've got it. Now that you've made that change. There are so many options that are now available to you of what you can do, not the least of which, just a curiosity thing there, Robert, but are you by any chance, are you actually keeping a journal regarding this journey, this particular trip that you're taking? Okay, because I will tell you, the way you look at the world and what led to your decision may well help other people Like, it's almost certain to help other people going through similar problems. You know, do I get this and do I get this removed, or do I fight with the options? Absolutely great, Robert. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of them. Okay. And it's that kind of thing that will help a lot of people. Okay. Because it's those decisions and the struggle that had to have gone on in your own head. My brother used to work as a rehab specialist for quadriplegics. As a matter of fact, for those of you living in Alberta, Canada, if you remember the old commercial, "Help, I've fallen but I can't get up," my brother was the lead installer for Southern Alberta. And he made a living. He spent his entire life trying to help motivate people to take control of their own life. And rest assured, he did it his way. It's funny, he was told, I had a lot in common with my older brother, because my mom and dad were told, take him when he was born, take him home, give him all the love you can, he'll be dead in 2 months. Well, in all fairness, he did die 2 months before he turned 53. But his entire life was spent living his way, which was kind of an important thing from his standpoint. And the one thing he did tell me was, make certain, however you live your life, you live it the way you desire to live it. You know, he reiterated what my father had told us all along. Do not let somebody tell you that you can't accomplish something. Okay. Absolutely, there are places that you're not permitted to go. Okay. But now is the time. If you think about it, for those of you that are here that have been here for the last little while, well, we are long, and I could probably carry on, but I got to look at the reality that you have to ask yourself: are you content with where your life is sitting right this minute? If the answer is yes, then absolutely stay with it. If the answer is no, I will tell you, the book I wrote, Believe in Yourself and Follow Your Dreams, is the backbone to how I change things. And I know it'll work because I've done it. Okay. I will tell you, whatever you set your mind to, take it one step at a time. There's an old African proverb that goes, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Okay. What that really boils down to is break it down into smaller parts so that you've actually got the opportunity to tie it off in a functional fashion. This is what you've got to look at, as it were. That'll work. That'll definitely work. Robert goes, how do you eat an elephant? With A1 sauce. Yep. That's been a lot of my inspiration. You can't do that. How about we don't discuss what I can't do? Okay. I am living proof that a diagnosis can be absolutely, pardon the pun, dead wrong. Okay. When people take a look at you and go, you can't do that, your coordination is absolutely is pathetic. I mean, you take a look, go back to the 70s. There was a chap who played for the Harlem Globetrotters by the name of Curly. I think he was called Curly Joe. He was told he would never play basketball because he was only 5'2". Well, he turned around and became one of the world's best basketball players just because he put the effort into it. Okay. And it really boils down to deciding, are you putting effort into your dream, or are you going to put effort into somebody else's limits? Your call which one you're going to do. Okay. Because if you decide to put your efforts into fulfilling somebody else's limitation on you, well, frankly, you're going to get what you're aiming for. Okay. Not necessarily, in my opinion, the best use of your time, but you are welcome to do it however you like. Now, I will tell you, just a point in fact, I've got with the November newsletter that'll be coming out shortly. Okay, I do actually. There was a submission by somebody, by one of the by one of the readers regarding a person that actually was doing a good thing. Like I said, I'm only interested in the good news for the most part. That ought to be an interesting answer. You know, the reality of it is, from my standpoint, we have a choice. The world has been painted as a very bleak, very desolate little place. Okay. Question is, are we going to buy into that? I'm not entirely. I figured that's where you were going to go. Okay, well, can't do that. Yeah, I can tell you there are replacements, but growing one back might be a bit of a hiccup. You know, I did find out that growing back damaged brain components does work. Mind you, I still think that I might be completely off my nut. I've got 3 shrinks that have absolutely told me I'm perfectly sane. I just don't deal with stupidity well. But what we have to remember is whenever you're looking at any memory, any rekindling, like in your case, Robert, you've got to change the way you're looking at that you're doing things, obviously. But now is the time to focus on what you can do. And maybe it's just a question of reorganizing or retraining yourself to do something. Like right now, I know you cut stones. Question for you. I'm getting. I know you say you cut stones. Are you actually? Do you actually cut gems as well, or is that the stones you're referring to? But that's a curiosity thing on my part. Primarily because, well, frankly, I'm nosy. And what do we got? See, this is coming. This, and I'll be working more on this later today as well. But I think I better go and bring this to a close. I really do appreciate you guys sticking around. You know, you have no functional idea how grateful I am that you guys, given all the options out there, choose to spend your time with me. Okay. Oh, nice. World, I did not see you come in. Yeah, we ended up running a little long, but that being said, in fact, we ended up running a lot long. Where are we here? This, whoop, that wasn't right. This is the link to World's live stream. Okay, now for clear, for obvious reasons, due to the fact he's here, we are over there. Um, you know, Now, this is the link to his stream. Drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, if you like what he has to say, give him a thumbs up. Do subscribe to his channel and share the daylights out of the thing. Okay. Iowax, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much, world. Yeah, I'm actually, but, oh, oops. Yeah, welcome back there, Nathan. You know, the reality of it is I ended up getting lost in things and, well, I babble apparently. But, I do have to bring this to a close because, well, frankly, my brain's starting to go, uh-oh, we have to deal with, oh, I don't know, food. Coffee, by the way, is not a great substitute for food, it turns out. But with that in mind, I want to say thank you so very much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. I will be back again. Okay, until then, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.